Dean, how are you today? Greetings from Toronto, Canada.
Greetings from Toronto. I mean, greetings to Toronto. Thanks. I'm here and I'm happy to see you.
Well, I'm
How
happy
are
to
you?
see you. I'm such a big fan of yours. And let's just dive in because first of all, I love this series. It's so much fun, but it doesn't look like you guys are having any fun at all, huh?
It is really the most fun that I've ever had, in the lighthearted way. I kind of like, I'm kind of a dark person, so I really like, heavy, dark things, and I like real meaty kind of dialogue and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this has been a departure from all of that, and
Yes.
ever having done that, and so and also that's the other thing about my career, I guess, is variety. It's so important to me, and kind of like finding new things and exploring new parts of oneself. That's the way we should all be in everything, I think. And so I really appreciate the ability to do that, and not be relegated to one thing. And so this is great.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. What a great opportunity. Now, I want to ask you when you first started to do this series, I mean, here you are playing Wally. It's loosely based on Aquafina's dad. What
Mhm.
pressure is that on you? Because it's a real guy, you're working with Aquafina, you're playing her dad. I mean, a little heady.
It is pressure. It is a pressure because the presence of an actual human being who you're playing create that's a person who should be respected. And the notion of playing a character is that as an actor you are creative and you make up things and you have free reign on the character that you're creating. So this is a thing that must be tended to. I think
Right.
this is the way I look at it. And luckily, he's as sweet, and that's the main kind of takeaway from him meeting him, is he's just very sweet and kind of easygoing, and in the case of the show, he's very supportive.
Right.
And so I can't, that makes it easier to but I do feel pressure because not only for him but for Aquafina, that oh wow, this is your life, and I take
Yeah.
it very seriously. And I don't, is this okay if I do this or if I do that? Any number of small or large things that you might choose, I feel the need to kind of run them by her. And a lot of times she's kind of like, whatever you do, you're playing the part. And then there's sometimes when she'll say, no, actually, he wouldn't do that. You
Right.
don't do that or whatever. And so it's interesting.
Yeah. And how difficult was it for you to get that kind of father-daughter relationship? I mean, you're for, you work together. She's hilarious. But was the chemistry instant for you guys?
I in some ways it was, and I'll tell you why. Because I I've been in this business a while, and maybe this is very corny, but these younger people who are coming up in the business, I'm very invested in them.
Right.
I'm not getting emotional now. I feel
I understand though.
kind of
Yeah.
like really, I'm just super invested, and I'm invested in their happiness and their success. And so I feel very like connected to her in that way, in a way that she probably doesn't feel at all with me. I mean, she does feel, and she asked me to come and be on the show, and she's very nice about the reasons why she says all those nice things, those things you're supposed to say. And also so there's a mutual kind of like um family kind of feeling to it. And
Right.
so I'm always, when I'm in her, she's on an awards show or she's in a hit movie, and I feel like, oh, this parental pride towards her. So that translates completely. Like there's no, I don't have to work so hard to feel like, oh, how invested in, or how frustrated should I be at anything that sets you back.
Yeah.
That's not hard for me as an actor at all.
Yeah. And it must be so wonderful for you to see what's been happening the last few years with the Asian community in film and television. I mean, you look at something like Everything Everywhere All at Once and how it's being, accepted and just all this amazing talent that you were just saying, like you were
Yeah.
getting emotional thinking about it. And it's just so beautiful. So for you as an actor, from when you started to what you're doing now, it's got to be so gratifying for you, BD.
It really is. It's absolutely, I can't say it any better than you have. It's absolutely gratifying. The progress is measurable. You can see it. You can quantify it. And yet, you're always wanting to be I'm a very cynical person, and I'm very like skeptical and careful, and I don't know what this means, but we're in a good place right this very second. All of that kind of comes into play as well. But I think I should motivate us all to kind of continue to do the work that we're doing. Just the fact that these Asian actors, and in particular these younger Asian actors, can do the work that they're capable of because they're given the opportunity to do so. That means the world to me, because I have struggled over the many years and still continue to struggle with that quality of work, like really finding the quality work that you can really do that will show you to your best advantage. As opposed to just relegating yourself to a supporting function that just helps someone else, but doesn't help you as much as an artist. And so to see them doing that, and for us all, is encouraging to me and makes me feel like, okay, well, that's there's bound to be something in there for all of us if this is becoming as plentiful as it appears to be.
Yeah.
The presence of all of this cable content is really helpful. That there's this diversity of content, and that there's I grew up with 3 channels on the TV, and that was it. And those were, if you were not on one of those shows, you weren't on anything. Right. And now there's a lot of great content, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, because I know we only have a little bit of time, and I have so much I want to ask you. But I got to say, in your career, I mean, I've always followed you right from the get-go and everything that you've done. But I got to tell you, my friend, your performance on Mr. Robot, I loved that series. I was obsessed. But you, my God, like, what a gift, right?
It was a great gift to me. Sam Esmail, even as an audience member, felt like I was given a gift to watching the show, because I worked on that show. I didn't become an expert on the show as far as the scripts were concerned. I went home and I watched the show like an audience member. And then my part, of course, I knew my part. The rest of it all kind of swirled around, and I was just enthralled by that show. That show is worth repeated watchings over and over again.
I agree.
Because you can just get so much more out of it. And then the role was just a gift that I will keep on giving. And I threw myself into it and gave myself a sense of preparation and mindfulness to it that I had never done before. I may never do again. The time that I had to work on it, and the amount of energy I put into it, and the care that I was able to give it, were really the kind of way that I like to work. So
just brilliant.
I loved every second of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're
I'm
welcome.
proud of being on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just and the cast, everything. It was just, I loved it. You're right. You do, if you watch it a few times, you see different things. There's no question.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And it shows you the mastery of the storytelling, because he knew what he was doing the whole time. Like, it wasn't like, oh, and now here it's going to end up being this. These seeds were planted from the very beginning. Wow. And so the map was there, and I'm sure the details of things were fleshed out as he went along, but he really knew. It's very impressive to see someone tell a story like that.
Absolutely. And just before we wrap up, I know you've got a bunch of things coming, but working with Gal Gadot, you've got a film coming out, Heart of Stone, like that cast. I mean, my goodness, embarrassment of riches, my friend.
Yes, and I can't complain about it. It was great, and that was the Nora cast went to Iceland for season 3 of the show for an episode that I was not in, but I had just gone to Iceland for the Gal Gadot movie right before that, so I had my Iceland experience. Thank goodness I didn't have to be too jealous about that. But and Iceland is an incredible place to visit and to work, so that was great. And I'm doing all the things that I want to do, and I'm grateful to be able to do them, really.
Well, we're grateful to have you. I really appreciate your time today, BD. Like I said, I'm such a big fan, and I love everything you do. And I know here in Canada, we're very excited for the new season of this show, Nora Queens. And anyway, keep up the great work, and come visit us.
Thanks.
Come do a play here in Toronto. That's what I'd like.
Oh God, I would love that. Yes, one of my best friends, Raymond, lives in Toronto, so that would be really, really great. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm holding you to that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate that.
Thanks. Me too.
Okay. Bye bye.